you guys know, I tend to script out and like whiteboard out every single one of the videos that I produce. So this one is going to be highly edited, highly scripted, and highly produced. The like basic plot of this video is that I am driving to Gary, Indiana to find a crackhead, smooch him on the lips, and sleep in an abandoned building in Gary, Indiana. A city known for all of its abandoned buildings and just being driving for 13, 14 hours now, but I promise it's going to be worth it, alright?
So Gary, Indiana was founded in 1906. Basically, Gary was created around a new steel plant, Gary Works, and named after one of the founding chairmen of the United States Steel Corporation. The city only existed to bring iron and other steel ingredients off the Great Lakes and produce steel. Since its peak in population has pretty much been cut in half, as you can see here, 2022 population 69,000. It was at one point almost 200,000. Poverty rate 32%. 1 in 3 people are under the poverty level. Again, medium household income 36,000. I don't know how anyone would live on that. So this intersection here at Adams Street and 5th Ave is where I started in Gary, Indiana. As you can see, the library is on the left here. You can tell that there's a very faded yellow line on Adams Street here, indicating that it is in fact a two-way street. However, both I and another person in a car behind me pulled up to the stoplight here thinking that it was a one-way. I was going to go straight and he was going to go left, and we were both on the left side of the street. The roads here are truly a great example of how the city of Gary, Indiana has just straight up given up trying to maintain what's left of the roads, the infrastructure, the buildings, the houses. Also, ironically, on this corner, you can see here is a Chase Bank. It's, according to Google Maps, been here since 2017. So there are businesses that are functional, and oddly enough, there didn't seem to be any like vandalism or any like excessive amounts of cameras. Obviously there are cameras on the building, but it didn't seem to be any more than normal.
So, just for reference, this is present-day Broadway. It's clear that there's an effort to like have businesses here, but like clearly they just don't succeed, which is a shame because obviously we want businesses to succeed. They just can't, because everything continues to get broken and destroyed. Cycle of anarchy, I guess. It's just 2B2T in a different life, I guess.
Well, one of the first buildings I went into was a sort of strip mall type building that had several of these large machines that I don't even think I could begin to describe what these machines were originally intended to do. But this computer and desk was also sitting right next to one of the machines in this room. Obviously that wall to the left, the sheetrock, there's just holes in it. It's very decrepit, very rundown. Cans of spray paint all over. Lots of vandalism, lots of trash.
Gary Sheriff's Department. Here's that printing press room from the other side. I wish there was signage up. Okay, so there is still copper. And that has electrical still.
So this image of the face of Gary and the factories for eyeballs and Gary in the mouth was on the back of the printing press building. Obviously I have no idea who or when it was created and what its purpose was, but I guess that's just art. There's a photo inside of the printing press and computer again. Here was one of the upper level of that building. You can see that window is kind of like bending outward as bricks are falling out. Then here, the cornerstone of that building, ironically, you can pretty much see through in several spots. Next building I took a look at was the city church. Here's a big wide shot of it. I'll let you read this if you want to stop and pause. is the entrance, or where most people looks like would go in. And of course, there is some glass window panes higher up that are still intact, but most of it has collapsed, and pretty much all that's left is the stone walls. The whole concept of what happened here makes me fearful of like the future and what happens to Minneapolis in 30 years.
And like when I look at now, and in wake of George Floyd and what happened there,
It's terrifying to like think that in 50 years Minneapolis could also look like this. This intersection here on Broadway looks like it was renovated in about 2018 and had this crumbling building in the background here. Again, basically in ruin. This one doesn't look terribly spray painted, but I think it's interesting that there's Google Maps footage on the inside of the building. When I visited in 2024, it was demolished, and this next picture that you're going to see is that same exact corner in 2024, and you can see that that building is gone, and there is a new apartment complex that is built there.
here's another angle of that apartment complex. But what I just realized is this parking area, I thought it was just like a covering structure. They're actually solar panels.
I just really thought that this building looked very out of place, especially considering that the next building down the street on Broadway is this one. Again, broken windows, boarded up, spray painted. This is like half boarded up, half lived in, it looks like.
It's crazy how like expansive and dystopian it is. Because even out here, they look better, but it's still like the rundown sketchy parts of Minneapolis and Fargo look like this.
Here's a couple of street art projects that were done by a high school class of, I believe, 2018. There was a lot of beautiful artwork here, but I think the chameleons playing instruments has some interesting symbolism because chameleons can change the color of their skin. This church was built in 1926, clearly very Gothic style. It has been renovated and protected. You can see it's kind of boarded up around the windows to try and protect some of the stained glass, but it actually hasn't ran a public service since 1983. But it's been closed and maintained since then.